Zegler, is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged. I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood.
Rumors are swirling online that conservative firebrand Candace Owens may have set her sights on Rachel Zegler, and more specifically, the total disaster that is Disney's Snow White remake. While no official video or tweet has confirmed it, yet social media has been buzzing with speculation that Owens is either preparing to or has already recorded a segment blasting Disney's latest attempt to reboot a classic through the lens of wokeness. And honestly, no one would be shocked. Candace has built a reputation around calling out what she sees as hypocrisy and pandering in the entertainment industry, especially when it comes to studios rewriting stories to fit a political agenda. The Snow White controversy is a tailor-made talking point for her, a beloved fairy tale stripped of its charm, recast with a lead actress who openly disrespected the original, and marketed with an awkward modern twist that left even longtime Disney fans rolling their eyes. The backlash has been relentless, and the numbers don't lie. This wasn't just a bad movie, it was a full-blown PR catastrophe. If Candace hasn't said anything yet, it's only a matter of time, but the very fact that fans expect her to speak up says a lot.
And be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
Her voice is synonymous with backlash against forced representation and Hollywood tone deafness. And whether you agree with her or not, it's hard to argue that this film gave her, and the entire internet, plenty of ammo. So did Candace Owens just destroy Rachel Zegler's Snow White? Maybe not officially, but the internet seems to think she could, and probably should. At first glance, Disney's casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White looked like a strategic move, a fresh face, a Broadway-level voice, and someone coming off a high-profile role in West Side Story directed by Spielberg. On paper, it made sense, but within hours of the announcement, the internet made it clear this wasn't going to be a smooth ride. Fans weren't just skeptical, they were livid. The backlash started with the obvious. Snow White is famously described as having skin as white as snow, a detail baked into the character's name, appearance, and symbolism. Zegler, a Latina actress, didn't match the iconic imagery. Some fans called it an unnecessary change, arguing that Disney was more focused on optics than honoring the original story.
And she's now posted on her social media calling for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, this is just not even normal. They've already had to delay this film because this woman can't close her mouth, and now she's, calling for violence?
Others defended the casting, saying talent should matter more than tradition. But as it turns out, both sides were about to be disappointed. What ignited the firestorm wasn't just Rachel's background, it was what she said. In interviews, Zegler's attitude seemed distant, even dismissive of the story she was now representing. Her comments would go viral later, but even early. Reactions from her press appearances painted a picture of someone who wasn't embracing the role. She was deconstructing it. And when you're leading a remake of a 1937 classic that practically built Disney's legacy, that's a dangerous move. Instead of excitement, Disney's big reveal triggered outrage. This wasn't seen as a magical casting, it was viewed as another box-ticking move in Hollywood's playbook, a misfire. What should have been a PR win turned into the opening act of one of Disney's biggest modern controversies. And Rachel Zegler, whether she knew it or not, had just become the face of it. If the casting raised eyebrows, Rachel Zegler's interviews lit the match. In what should have been a dream press tour, Zegler instead managed to alienate nearly every Disney fan in sight. She called the 1937 original weird, outdated, and implied it didn't reflect modern values. Instead of celebrating the classic, she tore it down. And the internet didn't take it lightly. Fans saw her comments as arrogant and tone-deaf, especially coming from someone hired to embody the character. The backlash wasn't just about one quote. It was about tone, timing, and a lack of reverence for a film that helped build the Disney empire. TikToks, memes, and rage tweets flooded social media, turning a mild casting controversy into a full-blown PR disaster. At that point, it wasn't even about the film anymore. It was about a growing sense that Zegler didn't understand, or worse, didn't respect the role she was given. As backlash snowballed, Disney's PR team reportedly went into full-blown panic mode. Suddenly, Rachel Zegler was all over the place, teary-eyed, talking about how much she really loved Snow White and how honored she felt to take on the role. One clip showed her claiming the character's superpower is her heart, trying to flip the narrative and tug at nostalgic heartstrings. But by then, the damage was done. The apology tour felt rehearsed, almost like a script handed down by the studio. Fans weren't buying it. The same people she had offended weeks before were now watching her backpedal like her career depended on it. Because, well, it probably did.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
Disney tried to pivot the marketing toward empowerment and heart, but it only made things worse. The more they tried to fix it, the more it looked like they were scrambling to salvage a ship that had already hit the iceberg. Just when things couldn't get messier, another controversy blew up. This time over the dwarfs. Actor Peter Dinklage, known for Game of Thrones, slammed Disney for remaking Snow White with what he called a backward portrayal of little people. In response, Disney scrapped the traditional dwarfs and introduced magical CGI creatures. The decision only added fuel to the fire. Leaked set photos revealed a bizarre, uncanny group of cartoonish characters that looked like something out of a failed video game. Fans mocked them instantly. Even those who initially supported the remake were confused. Why replace iconic characters with weird fantasy filler? Worse, many in the Little People community spoke out, saying Dinklage's comments cost them rare job opportunities. Disney thought they were sidestepping controversy. Instead, they created a new one. The move felt like a clumsy attempt at progressiveness that pleased no one and disappointed everyone. By the time Snow White hit theaters, fans weren't just skeptical, they were done. The hashtag #NotMySnowWhite was everywhere. YouTube reactions, TikTok parodies, and meme threads painted the movie as dead on arrival. And when opening weekend numbers dropped, it was clear the internet wasn't just loud, it was effective. With a reported budget hovering around $250 million, the film brought in a shockingly weak $87 million globally in its debut. That's not just underwhelming, that's catastrophic. Theaters sat half empty, merchandise gathered dust, even die-hard Disney fans stayed home. Many blamed Zegler's comments. Others pointed to the odd CGI choices, weak trailers, or the general woke rebranding of the classic tale. But whatever the reasons, the message was loud and clear. Audiences didn't want this version of Snow White. What was supposed to be Disney's next big win had turned into one of its most expensive embarrassments. Rachel Zegler entered Hollywood with a golden ticket, a lead role in West Side Story directed by Steven Spielberg. But somewhere between red carpets and press junkets, that momentum crashed. Not only did she catch heat for her Snow White takes, but clips resurfaced of her criticizing West Side Story.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome.
The very film that made her famous. To many, it came off as ungrateful. Directors, producers, and casting agents reportedly took notice. One viral comment summed it up. She's talented, but she's a liability. Studios are in the business of selling stories, not managing social media fires. Sure, Zegler can sing and act, but in an industry flooded with talent, nobody wants the star of their $200 million movie trending for all the wrong reasons. By the time Snow White bombed, she wasn't just a polarizing figure, she was the face of how a rising star can self-sabotage with just a few bad interviews. So how did this all go so wrong? The truth is, it wasn't just one bad casting decision or one awkward interview. It was a perfect storm of missteps. First, Disney seemed more focused on rebranding the story for a modern audience than preserving what made it beloved in the first place. Then came the PR mismanagement, letting a young actress speak freely without coaching or restraint, despite her inexperience with high-stakes media. Add in rushed marketing, questionable creative choices like the CGI creatures, and a fan base that felt ignored, and you've got the formula for a flop. The lesson here, you can't force nostalgia through a new lens without respecting the original, and no matter how much money you throw at a remake, bad buzz is louder than any trailer. Hollywood might want to take notes. Audiences aren't against change. They're against being talked down to by the people making it. In the end, Disney's Snow White remake won't be remembered for its visuals, performances, or even its story. It'll be remembered as a warning, a Hollywood cautionary tale about what happens when you underestimate your audience and mishandle your message. Rachel Zegler had the chance to become a new Disney icon, But her dismissive tone, paired with Disney's clumsy attempt at reinvention, turned a fairy tale into a fiasco. Now, with millions lost and fans still mocking the film online, the damage is done. Whether or not Candace Owens truly destroys Zegler in a future segment, the truth is the internet already has, with memes, critiques, and relentless backlash. The magic was never in the CGI or the modern spin. It was in the connection. Fans had to the original, and once that was broken, no amount of spin, sparkle, or song could bring this fairy tale back to life.